If you happen to be looking for some recommendations on which non-sequel to pick up from this season, then you've come to the right place. For today's list, we're going over 10 non-sequels that have caught my eye. Things can change, but these 10 series either show a lot of potential or have already started on their road to greatness. A mix of niche and the most mainstream anime awaits, so sit back and enjoy the show. Number 10 is Unnamed Memory. A mysterious witch. A cursed prince braving the dangers and climbing a tower, coming back down having attempted to take the witch's hand in marriage, all in an attempt to undo a curse. Now it seems like stock medieval fantasy with a hint of romance, and for the most part, Unnamed Memory does just that with mixed results, but generally speaking, it manages to get its point across. Fantasy romance is one of those evergreen genres. In a world that's weathered the isekai wave of the 2010s, it feels refreshing to see a classic looking medieval fantasy anime that's just that. Adult protagonist, no video game backdrops, no salaryman reincarnation, and a narrative that seeks to make its mark mainly through developing its characters and the mysteries surrounding them inside of focusing on loads and loads of clip-worthy showcases of power. Unnamed Memory is an okay watch on its own, fitting to be at the bottom of a top 10 seasonal list. For the most part, it carries itself well enough, but alas, the light novel curse, courtesy of Studio NG, persists. With rushed pacing, cut content and the like, Unnamed Memory is an anime that works best either as a complement to the source material or your first foray into the series. Girl Band Cry is at number 9.
なんか2人とも拭えない不幸感というか不満がにじみ出てる。失礼な。そうですよ。でもそういうのがいいかと思って声かけたんだよね。スバルもニナも。
I have this knack for getting into music anime later than usual, and it's not exactly a bad thing. While I may have overlooked Girl Band Cry in my pre-season videos, having seen the anime has convinced me that this could be a dark horse of the season. After the comedic impact of Bocchi the Rock a couple of years back and the surprisingly heavy drama of Bang Dream It's My Go a year ago, Girl Band Cry finds itself nestled comfortably between the two spectrums. It talks about some grounded issues while hitting the mark with its rock songs, yet it also never forgets to lighten things up and reminds people of the joy and friendship that most people look for when dreaming of being in a band. The CG for Girl Band Cry is noteworthy to say the least. It looks even more gratuitous than My Go, for example. Now if that doesn't bother you that much, however, make sure to give this show a try. It won't blow your mind or anything like that, but as far as being the latest entry of the musical girl group genre goes, it definitely has heart. Now, imagine this. You're settled in for an epic anime marathon. You have the comfiest spot on the couch picked out, but then your stomach begins growling and you're confronted with a dilemma. So, do you put off your show and cook manually instead? Not anymore. With Factor's meal delivery service, you get creative restaurant quality food delivered that were never frozen in only 2 minutes. That's less time than it takes the new episode to load up. With over 35 options every week, pro chefs prepare each Factor meal from scratch using premium ingredients, including fresh veggies, proteins, spices, and herbs. They even have the Gourmet Plus categories with food fit for royalty in any isekai series. We're talking steak medallions, buttery shrimp skewers, rich sauces, truffle oil, and tender broccolini and asparagus. And your Factor feasts arrive weekly. No prep or cleanup needed. So save yourself the struggle of yet another average meal during your sacred anime time. Factor's well-prepared meals mean you never need to hit pause as you savor brand new, exciting flavors. Fuel up and watch anime all day and all night. Get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders using my link. Check the link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone. Mission Yozakura Family finds itself in the 8th spot.
紹介するね。私の兄弟たちよ。兄弟？
A large, over-the-top family of agents, some crazy circumstances like a forced marriage, and supernatural elements thrown into the mix. That's Mission Yozakura Family in a nutshell. Yeah, a lot of people have been comparing this to Spy Family, but besides the spy and family setting, I see them as quite different in terms of goals, with one being more wholesome, and this one leaning more towards action shonen. I guess the anime is a bit closer to Hitman Reborn while we're at it with the comparisons. That pretty much sums it up, and it should help you decide if you want to pick up Mission Yozakura Family. Much of the joy in watching Mission Yozakura Family is simply witnessing the fireworks. This anime continues to surprise with every episode, thanks to it throwing more additions to the already wild and colourful cast of characters that never fails to keep me amused. I had this as one of the more anticipated titles entering the season, and while the show instead settled into a modest reception, it's still something that doesn't fail to entertain, both with the action and the comedy. If you need to wind down from all the anime craziness, however, this next anime is for you. Presenting Bartender.
でもそこにバーテンダーがいるからバーにテンダー優しさが生まれる
The first of two remakes gracing our screens this season, Bartender is the definition of a chill anime. Dark, elegant, and a journey into the depths of the heart. Instead of the usual stimulation that we get from the most hyped action titles or the most heart-melting romances, Bartender looks to evoke a sense of tranquility, a calm, retrospective mood that we don't get from anime often. A place for us to gather ourselves and think more deeply about life, free from the turbulence of the outside world. Now, with that in mind, Bartender definitely isn't a show for everyone. To those looking for more stimulation and things to be excited about, this anime may at times seem meandering, a bit too down to earth, I suppose, and that's perfectly fine. Like different blends of alcohol, some of them can be considered acquired taste or something that tastes well only if you're specifically looking for it. That pretty much sums up my feelings about this anime.
これは師匠に教わったんです
Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night is up next.
外から光を溜め込んだら自分でも輝けるようになるの。だから私も
Girl band Cry isn't the only music sensation spring has lined up for us. Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night is also here to join the party, this time taking fans to the vibrant and lively suburbs of Shibuya and starring a cast of creatives banding together. Admittedly, the title left many people not knowing what to make of it, and the vague premise likely caused people to overlook this anime. After watching some of it though, I can say that I had my eyes on a hidden gem. It's great at capturing the intended emotional beats and the melodrama, and I heartily recommend this to anyone looking to watch an anime that's rather sentimental in tone. Being an anime original, there's increased unpredictability on how things will go. It can rise up the ranks and become the biggest underdog story of the season, or it can crash and burn towards the end like Wonder Egg Priority. So far, things are looking up for this show, however, and I do look forward to it maintaining that momentum.
私のために書いてよ。
起きたか
Archdemon's dilemma at first glance doesn't look to break new ground. All-powerful being buying a slave and realizing that both of them have feelings for each other, that's already a common thread in isekai, especially those that emerged right around the start of the 2020s. However, what Archdemon's dilemma has to offer has a lot to do with its focus on the relationship side of things. You see, our main couple here are as awkward as characters can come, and seeing them open up and grow closer to one another will remain one of the best reasons to pick this up. A focus on sweet character dynamics without an overbearing plot or goal to detract focus away from the budding relationship isn't what I expected when I saw the cover, but here it is. It's something more fitting of the romance tag with how fluffy things can get at times, and seeing a show like this underneath the costume of a demon lord power fantasy was actually a pleasant surprise. Right at the doorstep of the top 3 is Spice and Wolf. Remakes can often be hit or miss. In some attempts to maybe follow the source material more completely, a lot of the charm and the heart that made the original work gets lost in the shuffle. Fortunately though, Spice and Wolf doesn't suffer from any of these problems. In fact, a lot of the subtle enhancements serve to keep things fresh and appealing, even for those who've already watched this classic tale of economics and adventure. Their world looks as lively and promising as ever, and the two main characters' banter never grew old on me. You know what, watching this felt like a reunion with an old buddy after we've all improved on ourselves in the years that have gone by. If you haven't watched Spice and Wolf, however, this 2024 version remains a good launchpad for you to get into the franchise. It recaptures the magic of the original while fitting right at home alongside the blockbusters of spring 2024. Starting our top 3 is Go Go Loser Ranger.
俺たち怪人は世界征服に来たんだ逃げ帰るのはもうやめだ
Go-Go Loser Ranger has a relatively simple premise. Think something like Power Rangers, but the supposed heroes aren't fighting for justice, but actually for their own enjoyment. Along the way, the monsters finally had enough and it's time to end the charade from within. Thus begins the action story, where we get to see the villain perspective for once, and it gives us a pretty interesting set of lens from which to view the story from. A story about an underdog biting back against establishment always has a place in the hearts of anime fans. Add some exciting fights in between and some great ways of establishing characters and driving a point across, showing fans the truth behind the curtains with supposed hero characters, and you have yourselves one of the more entertaining new anime this season has to offer. There's nothing too spectacular about Loser Ranger, but it's a show that's truly more than the sum of its parts. Windbreaker makes its way into second place. Teenage Delinquent hasn't been this cool in a while, I'd say. Tokyo Revengers, but even that was a bit polarizing in spite of its huge popularity at its peak. That series also didn't have as good as of a reception by the time the years went by and the manga ended. Luckily, it helped set the ground for new trailblazers like the very promising Windbreaker. Featuring a more positively received protagonist and some mind-blowingly awesome fight scenes, Windbreaker epitomizes what makes these kinds of anime so cool to watch. What Windbreaker doesn't have in terms of a complex plot, it more than makes up for with sheer hype. Those fights will leave you at the edge of your seat, and it's just so easy to get hooked to the series with its interesting set of characters. It's just a thrill ride to be had. It's a pretty nifty connection to the starting personality of Windbreaker's protagonist, a guy who just chooses to be in the midst of the turf wars, all for the experience and the thrill of becoming the strongest. For our best new anime of the season, a show of hands for Kaiju number 8. The premise of your main character becoming the very things he's tasked to hunt and defeat may not be anything new by this time, but anime just keeps finding more and more ways to innovate and make the setup just so enjoyable to watch. People might find having an adult protagonist to be a nice change of pace for one. Also, there's the light-hearted direction the anime seems to take. Kaiju number 8 is more than just a monster mash, you see, as it also seems to place a lot of emphasis on the comedy aspects of the show, making it obvious that while it wants you to have emotional stakes in the key moments, this is a show that doesn't really take itself seriously. Popcorn entertainment at its best, as they say. For someone looking to pick up a random new anime for the season and is in the mood for an action anime, Kaiju number 8 would be a great watch for you. Its plot's quite simple, it has those Attack on Titan vibes without veering towards being too serious or philosophical. It's just simple, action-filled fun. Which of the new spring anime is your favourite so far? Share your favourites and let us know if you found an underrated gem this season. Also, don't forget to check out Factor through the link in the description. That's it for today, have a great day, and I hope to see you next time.